Kindly watch the video linked in the comments first. It is shared solely for your inner growth. It contains essential guidelines on how to maximize the benefits of the content. Skipping it may waste your time and dilute the true purpose of what follows. Please watch the videos in the recommended sequence only, as watching them out of order may lead to confusion.
Teacher, today you promised to take me from Saguna to Nirgun, devotion to idols into devotion to formlessness. I'm bracing for another mind bender.
Hold on to your seat, Arav. Devotion with form comforts the heart, devotion without form liberates the soul. Let's dive in. The path of devotion suits those guided more by emotion than by intellect. Unconditional love is its engine, reason and argument take a back seat. Everything unfolds by God's will for our highest good. The only requirement, surrender your own will to the divine.
That sounds drastic, dismissing intellect altogether. Doesn't blind devotion invite passivity, even self-harm, when faced with injustice? How do you balance wholehearted surrender with the need for good judgment?
Not at all, Arav. Devotion doesn't demand blindness, it asks the heart to lead while the mind remains vigilant. Surrender isn't self-harm, it's trusting a deeper wisdom. Non-retaliation isn't weakness, it's strength guided by love, not anger.
So, let me get this straight, my heart's the captain, my mind's the watchguard, and my brain's on vacation? Sounds like I'm setting up a rebellion in my own camp.
No, Arav. On this path, every action, however ordinary, becomes an offering. Your mind, heart, and body move in perfect harmony. In that flow state, there's only doing, no doer. Arav slips away and your true nature shines. Time, hunger, even sleep disappear, and you fall in love with the act itself. The goal isn't to finish the task, it's to savor the doing. Resistance vanishes, whether you're creating art or defending yourself.
Yes, I've experienced that state when I'm playing.
Exactly, Arav. The true purpose of life is to treat everything as play, tragic or comic. This is also the essence of the path of action, karma. The difference in worship is that the worshipper vanishes in the act and only worshipping remains. The act itself becomes pure love, nothing else is desired. Even pain and tragedy are received with deep gratitude as divine gifts.
No way, that's definitely not my path. I'm not signing up for a lifetime of pain.
Physical pains are just unavoidable, but when you greet it with gratitude to the divine, its heart softens and you dodge the extra suffering that outlasts it. Try it for yourself, next time you get hurt and tell me what you discover.
Now tell me the key difference in worshipping at religious place and worshipping without any form?
Worship in a temple gives you a focus, a form to channel your devotion. Your senses engage, sight, sound, scent. It's like training wheels for the heart, powered by a crowd in unison. That shared energy fuels your faith and lifts your spirits. Worship without form removes these props. Your devotion becomes pure vibration in silence, no rituals, no place required. It's like riding a bike with no training wheels, full freedom, full flow.
Alright, I get why the ancients built those temples. So, these temples were supercharged energy places. I think I've wrapped my head around devotion. Ready to practice? Maybe. After I've sampled the entire spiritual buffet. Now, tell me the big secret of mantras.
A mantra is simply a vibrating syllable, its literal meaning doesn't matter. Repeating it, core tantra technique, occupies the monkey mind, manas, and guides it toward silence. Tantra of mantra is the technology for harnessing the mind. Master the practice, and the mantra works internally, even during deep sleep. This perfection becomes a siddhi that lets you remain aware of who you truly are and who you're not.
So, does this internal humming stay active even during daily mental or emotional, fight-or-flight situations?
No, Arav. When the internal humming stops, that's the perfect moment to be fully present. Pull back from the chaos, pause, take a deep breath to still the mind, and listen for the mantra within. Different traditions offer varied methods. Choose the one that best fits your capacity and goals.
Can you tell me more about mantras? I've heard many people parroting them, yet they still act like fools throwing unnecessary tantrums.
Yes, Arav, that's because most haven't learned the true technique. They keep chanting the mantra while their thoughts run wild. The mantra only takes effect when mind and heart unite in dedicated unison. A genuine master assigns a mantra suited to your maturity. You start by vocalizing it with steady repetition. Over time, you shift to silent, inner repetition, no tongue movement, and visualize the mantra at the third eye point, between and just above your eyebrows.
I get why everyone wears on a tilak and bindi on forehead now. But since no one ever explained the why, we've all been walking around like suffering ignorant fools.
Great, Arav, now you are becoming insightful. That's a real progress. Being self-dependent, this is also Swa Tantra to decode symbolism. Now, any more questions on path of devotion?
Not as of now, this meeting was quite insightful. If any arise, I will ask you in our future meets. Let's close over here, and in our next meet we will discuss on path of action.